You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. Today's guest is Dr. Rob Robinson. He is an MBA professor at the University of Hawaii. He also obtained his PhD from Stanford University, taught at the Harvard School of Business and MIT's Sloan School of Management. He's an expert in the area of negotiations, venture capital, and high-tech startups. In 2000, he co-authored the book titled Angel Investing, Matching Startup Funds with Startup Companies. He also is a Barry and Virginia Weinman Distinguished Professor of Entrepreneurship and E-Business at the University of Hawaii. In 2002, he founded the UH Angels, a Hawaii-based angel investor network which mentors and invests in startup firms.
How does an entrepreneur pitch you guys then? Because if you're talking about 2 per week, actually 2 per month, you're only talking about 24 per year. I'm sure there's more people that want to do it. What do you use for criteria? How do they contact you?
Right.
What's the process for that?
Yeah, we have a screening process, and so we probably see, I would say, conservatively speaking, somewhere between 70 and 100 companies a year in the screening process, and then, as you say, maybe 24, maybe a few less than that actually, because we, for example, in August, we're taking August off because of everyone being on vacation and so on. So we probably see about, the full group probably sees about 20 companies a year. And so we're screening the other ones. Basically, when an entrepreneur contacts me, my first question is, do you have an executive summary that I can look at? If they have an executive summary they can send me, then I have a document that I can distribute to my executive.
How do they find you? Do they just find you somehow or email you or what?
We have a website.
Okay.
And people can certainly go there. It's if I can give it out.
Sure.
It's,
go ahead.
www.cba, as in College of Business Administration, .hawaii.edu/PACE, PACE, and that takes you to the PACE website, and there are links there to UH Angels as well as other information.
We'll put a link on our website too.
Great.
Just to make sure.
So people, reach me there. And also, personal referrals matter a lot as well, and people contact me through other members and so on.
And then, so once they send you their initial executive summary, you take a look at it. What are you looking at within that executive summary?
Yeah, what we're looking for are a number of things. And as I unfortunately have to tell entrepreneurs all the time, the fact that they may not be a good fit for us doesn't mean that they're a bad business. It just means that they're not a good fit for us. That our ability to help entrepreneurs is really limited, first of all, on the financing side, as I said, probably to somewhere between $250,000 and $1 million and a half. Now, that doesn't mean that people are looking for more money can't come to us. It just means that they need to understand that that's probably the maximum that we will invest. So we've had people raise $3, $4, $5 million in a round where we've contributed, some percentage of that. But beyond that, what we're looking for, I think, are businesses that we feel obviously have the opportunity to succeed or the potential to succeed. But we're also looking for businesses that will provide a satisfactory return and an exit to the investors. There's a lot of businesses out there which are great businesses, which are what we call lifestyle businesses that support the entrepreneur and the entrepreneur's family, but don't throw off enough free cash, essentially, to ever repay an investor, and certainly not to repay them at a rate that makes the risk that they take when they invest in a business. What
would that rate be? I mean, give an example, like 1 to 10, 1 to 100?
Well, rather than using return on investment percentages, which a lot of people find confusing and non-intuitive, what I typically tell entrepreneurs is I say, my investors are looking for 3 to 5 times their money back in 3 to 5 years. That's, the basic metric. And that maps onto venture capital type rates of return. Because what you have to understand is that as an investor, when you invest in a portfolio of startups, the expectation is that the majority of them will fail. And so if you're losing all the money in over half the investments you make, the other investments need to return a pretty healthy overall rate of return in order to make your portfolio rate of return sufficiently high to have made that a worthwhile exercise, as opposed to putting it into the stock market or putting it into, municipal bonds or something like that.
Plus, the only way for the investor to actually get their money out is an IPO or an M&A of some sort. So someone is either buying them, they're merging, or they're going public.
Those are the traditional ways people get their money back. There are also instances where a company might be very, very profitable and can pay dividends that will repay the investor over time, and that's certainly something that people are open to as well. And we're not averse to any of those models. We just want to see the potential for success to be there.
UH Angels focuses on mentoring and investing in Hawaii businesses. Does that mean that the business has to open in Hawaii, or can they do it anywhere in the world?
We do not restrict ourselves to Hawaii, but I think most angel investing is local in nature. So, for example, if a company in New York contacts us and they have no connections to Hawaii and no intentions of operating in Hawaii, it's very difficult for angel investors, given our limited resources and our limited due diligence ability, to really make an intelligent assessment of that business. However, we've invested in companies on the West Coast, and we certainly invest in companies that maybe have some logical connection to Hawaii, either as a market or as perhaps the management is from Hawaii, people know who the individual is, and so on. And so we don't restrict ourselves. The other thing I should probably mention is that Act 221/Act 215, which is the Hawaii High Technology Tax Credit Program, has created a significant incentive for individuals to invest in companies that qualify for those credits here in Hawaii. And clearly, as was the intention of the legislation, has been very successful in doing that. So that is an additional incentive for people here to invest in those companies.
How long does the process take from when they pitch you, or not necessarily you, but your group? How long does the process take to actually get investment money?
Right. That varies a great deal, and it's not entirely up to us, because it can be that the company itself has to work through a lot of legal documents and has to put their management through a process of figuring out who's going to be investing in the round and who's negotiating the round with them and so on. But, from our point of view, we have a follow-up investment meeting the week after the companies present, and then we begin our process of due diligence. And I would say generally we are, if all of the feedback is good and if the company can answer all of our questions immediately, we're in a position to write checks within about 6 weeks of the presentation.
Thanks for joining us today on Greater Good Radio. For more information or a transcript of today's show, please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. This is your host, Evan Leong and Carrie Leong, saying please join us next time for another episode of Greater Good Radio, Hawaii.